Hello beauty queens, and yes, I'm back with another video, and this is my video on how I'm going to show you how I create my custom wigs. I'm going to try to stay out of this video as much as possible because I do look a mess completely. So first things first, I want to tell you guys what you all need, and basically what you'll need is things that you'll normally use for a sew-in. So me, I have a big tooth comb here just in case. I have my handy dandy wig brush. I also have a tape measure, and I'll tell you guys about this in a minute. You may or may not need it. Of course, you'll need some needles, and I have a couple of needles that I pulled out, and basically I just use the needles that have a curve to it as I would if I was doing a sew-in. So I have a couple of these just so I'm gonna go ahead and thread those, that way I can kind of keep, you know, my pattern going. I'm gonna have some elastic band, and this is optional, the elastic band. Also some thread, and I have this big spoolie of thread that I get from my beauty supply store. And also, of course, the bundles and your closure. And of course, you guys know I will be using the Kendra's Boutique hair. And also some scissors, and I have some scissors here handy. And also, I almost forgot to mention what I'm going to be using, and you can use the cap that you prefer. I'm using my spandex dome cap, and I bought a couple of them from the beauty supply store, and I ended up going with this one here. It looks like this, and it just says King J headgear, and just something that says spandex dome cap. Okay, now before you even get started, what I did previously, I took this little measuring tape here, and I measured from ear to ear on my hairline and also on the mannequin's hairline, from the crown of the, from the top of the head all the way to the nape of the head. I measured that as well. And I also measured the circumference of the head, the whole circumference of the head, okay? So all that has already been measured out. And if you find that your mannequin is too small, a tip that I did get from Facebook, a tip that I did get from YouTube is that what you can do is put tape underneath your mannequin head, make it thicker if your head is bigger. I have a smaller head, so I didn't have to add as much tape. So what I did is add like some packaging tape. You can see here, and I just added that around the wig, around the mannequin's head, for just to thicken it up a bit, okay? So when I get started, the first thing I like to do is, and also you'll need some T-pins. I forgot to tell you guys about those. And mostly all this stuff you can find at the beauty supply store. And I already have a T-pin that's holding my cap down. And basically what I'm going to do first, I like to put on the closure first. And so what you'll do is, I like to take my closure like that, and I like to take this part of the top of find where I'm going to blade my closure at, and then I like to, the first thing I like to do is kind of lay the closure in place on where I'm going to be placing the closure. And I'm going to kind of use these lines here that you can see on the spandex cap to kind of measure that out to kind of help. Now before we start stitching, I want to let you guys know the first mistake I ever made was sewing through the elastic band that's on the dome cap. So make sure you're not sewing through that, okay? Because it's going to stop it's going to prevent your wig from being able to stretch. So we're going to line this up first, try to get all the baby hairs out the way, and we're going to lay that right there. So I think I'm gonna put mine about right there, okay? And then I'm gonna take a couple T-pins and just lay that down, okay? Now when I start stitching the closure here, I'm not gonna stitch all the way around. I'm gonna stitch one side first, stop, stitch another side, stop, and then I'm gonna stitch the back, and that way it can be even, okay? And I'll be right back once I get one side stitched, okay? Okay, so as you can see here, I've already stitched one side. And remember I told you, instead of going around the back and stitching the other side, what I'm going to do is, instead of going to the back first, I stitched the one side, right? And now we're going to take the other side and, okay, so now we're going to take the other side and make sure we pull it over. Well, not pull, like pull, but make sure that we pull it over enough to where it's really tight to the other side, if that makes sense. Like, we don't want any slack in between the closure. We want it to lay very flat. So what we're going to do is just to make sure we pull it all the way over to this side. And then I'm going to stick a pin right there. And I'm going to go ahead and stitch this side up. And then we're going to go continue to stitch up the back, okay? And then once we have the closure sewed down completely, I'm going to come back with you guys, okay? Alrighty, so as you can see here, we have the full lace closure. We have it stitched all the way down, all around. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and start sewing in the bundles. We're going to take the longest length first, and we're going to start it at the back of the nape of the neck. But remember, I told you guys, when you start sewing right here, try to avoid that lace. I'm sorry, try to avoid that that spandex band that actually is on the dome cap, because you do not want to sew through that. So if possible, you can actually start above that band. That's what I may do. I'm gonna go ahead and start above that band, and I'm gonna try to get it at a different angle so I can show you guys me stitching the actual welts on to the head. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start sewing on. Okay, I do double my wefts of my hair. So I do double. And remember, I was telling you guys to avoid that band that's right there, avoid from actually putting the thread through it, because if you do sew on that, it will not stretch. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go a little bit above that band and start. And basically all I do, you just do this like you regularly would do a sew in. Okay. Okay, now once I get over here to the end of the hair, instead of cutting, what I actually do is I'll stitch it up a couple of times. Just keep stitching right here to the point to where it's secured. And I do my sew-ins like this as well. And I just flip it back and I just sew it again. But that way that prevents a lot of shedding. So what you'll do is take it backward, okay, and make sure it's flat. And you'll start it over just the same way you just did that. And we'll do this all the way throughout the head, okay? This part could be very, very boring, so just bear with me. And all I do is go from ear to ear, just like that, okay? Ear to ear, okay? Alright, so I'll be back once we get closer to the top, okay? Alright, beauty queens, so we have 2 bundles in, and this is how it looks so far. Yeah, we're about halfway through, and I'm still doubling up the knot, doubling up the welts. And this is how I'm trying to get a close-up of the stitching here. This is how. Okay, so that's the stitching there. Hope you guys can see that. So this is how it looks, and I'm kind of doing it pretty close together. The welts pretty close together, and this is how I'm going just from ear to ear. Just like this, and I'll just keep going and going like until we get up to the top, okay? So yeah, this is so far how it should look. And once we get to the top, I'm gonna show you guys how to connect the hair to the actual closer, so we won't have any gaps or anything through there. And it's really, really smooth. I hope you guys can see how smooth that is, to where it's laying really flat, no bumps, no lumps or anything like that, okay? Okay guys, so we're at the top, and all we have is this little bit left here. But what I was gonna tell you guys is, on my last bundle, I did go and just single the welts instead of doubling them. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to sew here all the way around, and this is the part where I'm going to connect the welt to the actual closure, and we're going to do this all the way around. It's pretty hard to film, but I'm just going to show you guys so you guys can kind of get a gist of what I'm saying. So what we're going to do, we're going to sew all the way down here, and then when we come back up, we're going to fold it. We're not going to cut it. and then we're going to actually sew it close, actually close to the actual closure, okay? So yeah, just I'm gonna do that and then I'll show you guys the finished product of it, okay? Okay guys, so it should look just like this. You see, we can't tell when the lace starts or stops, and you can't tell what the weft is, and it is very, very smooth and flat. It should be just like that. So when we come around here to the crown, we're gonna do one more right here, then we're gonna take it around for the side, and on the other side we're gonna do that side exactly like this, and then when we come back through right here, it should connect right there on that lace right there. So that's how it should be. So we got 2 more rows to go here, and then on the side we're gonna have one, and it's gonna look like this here, as you can see. Hope you guys can kind of tell what I'm saying here. So right there, you shouldn't be able to see anything. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you guys the finished product, okay? Alright guys, so the wig is completely done with the stitching, and this is how the inside of it should look, something like this, with the stitches. Now this is the part to where you guys are gonna be very careful. Right here is where you should have your lace closure, okay? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna cut this extra fabric right here. Be sure not to cut the lace. Be very sure not to cut the lace, okay? So you're gonna take this material up from here, and you're gonna cut right here. You should have like an opening of lace right there, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and cut mine so you guys can see it, okay? Alright, so it should be an opening something like this right here in the inside, and right here at the top you're going to see it's a little bit of extra lace, and we're going to go ahead and cut that off as well, and then I'm going to show you guys how it looks with the wig back on the mannequin head, okay? Alrighty guys, so this is an overview of what we should have. Don't mind the front because we do have to train it and lay it flat and all that, so I'll show you guys all that in the next video. Right now this is just, I just wanted to show you guys how to construct the wig. So if we did everything correctly, we shouldn't have any lumps or any bumps or anything like that. You should be able to smoothly run your hands through the wig with no problem whatsoever. So yeah, that's it. That's the finish of the video, and this hair is pretty long. And yeah, so on my next video I'm going to show you guys how I lay my closure flat and all of that, so stay tuned for that next video. So this is pretty much it on how we construct the wig, okay? Thank you guys so much for watching, okay?